Howard Lima of We Are Change Connecticut, wearechangect.org, and this is Truth Talk News. I'm pretty disgusted today. I'm disgusted that this political game is going on in Washington. This shutdown, nonsense, horror, makes no sense at all. All it is a political theater. It's charade. It's nothing. You know, what they've cut, they should stay cut. Keep it out. It's non-essential. It's non-essential. The real things are going on. But no, let's politicize the whole thing, make it even worse, and attack the veterans and attack people that have their own property on federal land, and attack somebody at Yellowstone Park, tourists coming from foreign countries bringing tourist dollars into America. Does anyone see what's going on here? This authoritarian push, and now stupid people. I mean, look what else is going on here. You got on, I can't even believe it. In New York City, a restaurant's requiring patrons to eat in silence. I mean, what is going on with the psychology of humanity? James Wood speaks out of the truth about everything that's going on, and he's expected to lose a lot of work, and that's what's going on here. They have all of this collectivism going on, and this authoritarian intervention in everything, and now Obamacare wanting to come into your homes, and the IRS giving home inspections coming down the road. I mean, look what is going on here on Drudge Today. The White House, IRS exchange information, confidential taxpayer information. I mean, what else do I have to say about this? This is absolutely unheard of. And we have a debt ceiling that they just keep raising it. They're destroying the dollar. They're raising the debt ceiling. They're playing suicide games, because the goal is to destroy the dollar. The goal is to bring in a one-world socialist, authoritarian, totalitarian government, and they're already doing it little by little with all these little, and this coupled with all the media, mass media, that's owned by 6 companies, putting all this propaganda out there. The world is a village and all this bullshit. This is America. I'm sorry about all these other countries that are all fucked real bad because of what the globalist scum of the New World Order have done to them. But I'll tell you this much, we, the people of the United States of America, in order to form a more perfect union, have some truths that have become self-evident, that all men are created equal. And among these truths are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we're going down a road to despotism. Further despotism. The Federal Reserve Crime Syndicate has now appointed another head, Janet Yellen, to be named. Actually, Obama named her. This is how criminal this whole situation is.
America has fought its way back from the worst recession since the Great Depression. We passed historic reforms to prevent another crisis and to protect consumers. Over the past 3.5 years, our businesses have created 7.5 million new jobs. Our housing market is rebounding. Manufacturing is growing. The auto industry has come roaring back, and since I took office, we've cut the deficit in half. Now, I think everybody understands we've still got a lot of work to do to rebuild the middle class, but we've made progress, and we shouldn't do anything to threaten that progress. For these hard-won gains have made a difference to millions of Americans, and in part we can thank the extraordinary grit and resilience of the American people. In part we can thank the dynamism of our businesses. But a lot of it also has to do with the choices we've made as a nation to create more jobs and more growth.
The liar in chief.
One of the most important contributors to this whole process has been the Federal Reserve under the strong leadership of Ben Bernanke.
They have been the creators of this.
For nearly 8 years, Ben has led the Fed through some of the most daunting economic challenges of our lifetime.
And took all the wealth from the American people in the process.
he intends to finish his service as chairman at the end of this
sure
term,
does. He's finished our nation.
January. So today I just want to take a minute to pay tribute to Ben for his extraordinary service. But I also want to announce my choice for the next chair of the Federal Reserve, one of the nation's foremost economists and policymakers, current vice chairman, Janet Yellen. You know, after I became president, I was proud to nominate Ben for a second term. And while the Fed is and must always be independent, I want you to know, Ben, I'm personally very grateful to you for being such a strong partner in helping America recover from recession. Perhaps it's no surprise, as the son of a pharmacist and a school teacher,
cementing the lie of the privately owned Federal Reserve crime syndicate that is destroying our nation.
Global markets, he's been a voice of wisdom and a steady hand. At the same time, when faced with potential global economic meltdown, he has displayed tremendous courage and creativity. He took bold action that was needed to avert another depression, helping us stop the free fall, stabilize financial markets, shore up our banks, get credit flowing again. And all this has made a profound difference in the lives of millions of Americans. A lot of people...
Yes, they're all unemployed, out of work, and can't afford to pay their bills.
Thanks to this man...
Thanks to Ben Bernanke and the Federal Reserve Crime Syndicate.
More families are able to afford their own home. More small businesses are able to get loans to expand.
And they took 20 million homes.
More folks
I can't even listen to this liar anymore. They swindled these people and lied to the people so much that they actually believe that the president is the one that's appointing this person. It's all just a puppet position. It's all just for show. Because the president has nothing to do with the private corporation known as the Federal Reserve. But through the Federal Reserve Act of this private corporation, he's the puppet to make it seem as though the Federal Reserve is part of the government. This is how they set it up. Wilson is a traitor. I mean, I can go into this into deep detail. Woodrow Wilson was, of course, the property of Morgan. And Dr. Gabriel Kolko, in his book, Triumph of Conservatism, reports, in late 1907, Wilson supported the Aldrich Bill on banking and was full of praise for Morgan's role in American society. On page 205, according to Lundberg, for nearly 20 years before his nomination, Woodrow Wilson had moved in the shadows of Wall Street, like Obama, working for the interests of Wall Street, not the American people, because the Federal Reserve Act enslaved the American people, and the result have been depressions and recessions and collectivization of these top people of industry, commerce, and banking, always reaping the benefits, always getting more and more power and more control, to the point where 147 companies own 47,000 worldwide companies, all the companies. So the truth is 147 companies rule the world. And guess who owns those companies? Banks, central banks, and monarchies. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Getting back to the Federal Reserve, and of course, the election of 1912, Woodrow Wilson and Teddy Roosevelt whistle-stopped around the country trying to outdo each other in a florid and hypothetical denunciation of the Wall Street Money Trust, the same group of insiders which was financing the campaigns of both. And that's exactly what happened with Obama, isn't it? Isn't that what Obama did? Didn't he say he was going to go against Wall Street and not be part of Wall Street, but meanwhile they financed his campaign? In short, most of Roosevelt's campaign fund was supplied by the two Morgan hatchet men who were seeking William Howard Taft's scalp. The criminal Federal Reserve Act was and still is hailed as a victory of democracy over the money trust. Nothing could be farther from the truth. The whole central bank concept was engineered by the very group it was supposed to strip of power. The myth that the money trust had been defrocked should have been exploded when Paul Warburg was appointed to the first Federal Reserve Board, a board which was hand-picked by Colonel House. How powerful is our central bank? The Federal Reserve controls our money supply and interest rates, and thereby manipulates the entire economy, creating inflation or deflation, recession or boom, and sending the stock market up or down at whim. The Federal Reserve is so powerful that Congressman Wright Patman, chairman of the House Banking Committee, maintained in the United States. Today we have in effect two governments. We have the duly constituted government, then we have an independent, uncontrolled, uncoordinated government in the Federal Reserve System, operating the money powers which are reserved to Congress by the Constitution. Neither presidents, congressmen, nor secretaries of the Treasury direct the Federal Reserve. In the matters of money, the Federal Reserve directs them. The uncontrolled power of the Fed was admitted by the Secretary of the Treasury, David M. Kennedy, in an interview for the May 5th, 1969 issue of the U.S. News and World Report. It's the truth, but don't believe me. Find your own truth. There is only one truth. Seek and you'll find it. Don't be sheeple, people. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Go to wearechangect.org. I'm Howard Nima. Thank you for watching Truth Talk News, where news the mainstream media ignores is the top story. For more truth, subscribe to Freedom First Films on YouTube and Truth Talk News on Livestream.com.